All right, so I'm hoping you know where we are. I'm hoping obviously today's theme is about Queensland. So in northeastern Australia, important thing to know though, the weather here is what it's called subtropical. So it's not quite the same as Thailand. We do get 4 seasons, but the main thing, and I'll probably refer to this continuously throughout today, is that it's again the winters and things like that are a lot less, much more mild than some other parts of us. Like I'm from southern Australia, some other places, some southeast as well, Melbourne, where it gets very cold in winter. Here, not so much. So yeah, but you can see there's a quick insight into where we are. The campus as well, it said the 11th most beautiful in the world. That's just the architecture. It doesn't even take into account the weather. But you can see in the background here, beautiful blue sky. So we have over 280 days of blue sky on average per year in Brisbane. Yeah, it's a lot of places talk about that their city is the most friendly in the world. I think Cameron, you've sat through a lot of agent training, counsellor trainings. People always say, it's wherever it's from, it's the friendliest place on earth. I think with Brisbane, there's some reasons for that, and I'll explain to everyone why. Brisbane is now the third biggest city in Australia. It wasn't always that way. It's grown a lot in the last decade. The economy here, a lot of it is tourism, agriculture, but also things like mining. So crops and rocks is one way they refer to it. So obviously it's grown a lot in the last decade to become the third biggest city in Australia. Also other parts of Queensland have grown rapidly during that time as well. So this is an important thing. So economically it's done quite well. That puts people in a good mood. But also the fact it started off as a smaller city. It was always a capital city, but as a smaller city and grew. So people still have that sort of, some ways, a small city feel where everyone's very friendly and personable and things like that. Kind of like Adelaide, where I'm from, even though Brisbane's grown substantially larger. So, it's the last time in Brisbane, but yeah, that's a key thing. So you have sort of, done well economically and also great weather. Those are two things that make people quite friendly here and make people quite happy. Plenty of vitamin D. So yeah, the other thing, I'll show you some slides on the campus later. I'll talk more about it then. But we're a group of 8 university. You've probably, if you're researching us, you're probably researching other group of 8 universities. But you can see here, generally in the top 50 rankings for most major rankings, and consistently making small improvements each year as well. So the rankings are quite strong, particularly again, not just STEM subjects, but also the business subjects are quite strong as well. I won't go into too much detail about this one, just to say the fact, again, they are continuously improving that I've found this year. So small increases, which is quite positive. I'll give you some examples of what that means for you. But once again, just showing you where, once the borders open, if you just decide to study with us, where you might be studying. This is our main campus. We have 3 campuses. The main one is in Lucia. This is where I work. At the moment, the campus, we have some students doing tutorials on campus at the moment, and some online learning for students overseas as well. The key thing about this campus, you can see it's quite green, quite beautiful. There's accommodation on campus. There's a huge amount of sports facilities as well. So it's pretty much almost a self-contained campus. The major shopping mall is maybe 2 bus stops away. Very easy for our students. You see this central business area in the background there. On a good day, it's probably a 20-minute bus ride, or you can go to the train station. It's very easy by train. Or you can take the ferry. You can see the river there. You can take the ferry down several stops and be in the city. But you don't really need to. Most of the things you need by very nearby the campus. Toowong shopping centre and things like that. The campus has many different things you can do there as well. So it's just a very easy lifestyle you have here. Brisbane, I found, is incredibly easy to navigate. I spent maybe 2 weekends walking around the city, traveling around, and just found it very easy to get comfortable here. That's important for you as a student, because you want a place, if you're traveling a lot of time in public transport every day trying to get to campus, there's time you're not studying, or time you're not working, or time you're not relaxing. Okay, so this Brisbane makes it very, very easy. It has everything you need as a major city, the 3rd biggest city in Australia, but still has a very, very convenient lifestyle. Cost of living would be less than Sydney and Melbourne. A major part of that will be rent. One thing I really noticed here almost immediately in Brisbane was that student accommodation is everywhere in Brisbane. There's many universities here, and of course we are the only group of 8. But there's lots of student accommodation, and what that means is a lot of competition for the students. So that keeps the prices at a reasonable level. And that's fantastic. So it means you don't have to pay too much. You can obviously do a lot of research and find, good prices student accommodation. It was so good. It was much lower earlier this year. I debated whether I should live in accommodation because I moved to Brisbane, but I decided against that. Anyway, but there's plenty of great options you have here. Places that there's options on campus that can include food. There are other places that now have your bills, your Wi-Fi all included in the price as well. So it makes life very easy for you. As well as that, there's a ton of student accommodation, or probably private accommodation near the campus as well in the surrounding suburbs. And what that means is probably second, third year, you can move out with some of your friends, make sure you learn how to cook, and then you can live really economically within a very close distance to campus. And that way you just live in a very, sort of, as I said, economical way. All right. But yeah, this is Brisbane. It's a very beautiful city. You can't see it here. In other parts of the city, there are mountains, so you can go up there and do hiking and things like that. If you want to get away from your studies, an hour or 2 hours away, you can go to Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast by train. There's beaches out there. Further north, we have areas like Great Barrier Reef, Whitsundays, this beautiful tropical areas, Daintree Rainforest. Incredible biodiversity as well. So if you want to study something like biotechnology, Queensland's a great place because of the different ecosystems we have here. So anyway, going off a bit of a tangent there, but it's just a great place. Again, people like coming here for holidays, but if you're a student, it means you can pop off on the weekend with your friends. It's a great place to explore. So, even though sometimes the major cities in Australia may appear isolated on the map, in Queensland, you can do a lot within the state. And students really, really love that and get a lot of experiences. Okay. So just quickly, we saying before, we have a COVID page on our website. I recommend you look into that so that you can see the latest updates. But basically, the borders are closed at the moment, so I won't touch on that too much. We have for you students. If you do end up coming to Australia, then we do have the quarantine service available up to $2,000. And next year, 2021, there will be no tuition fee increases. On scholarships, we haven't finalized our scholarships yet for next semester. Generally at the university, we do have academic merit scholarships. So if you're amongst the top ranking students, you will get a certain percentage scholarship, and we will inform you of that. You don't need to do a separate application. But I do apologize, they're still being finalized. So we will update that very soon, hopefully. And that's usually how it works each semester. We do them on a semester by semester basis. Okay. We talked before about being a group of 8 university and what that means. Some people just show you rankings. I want to really show you real world applications of that. But this also shows what our students can do here, not just science students, but any students, the capabilities we have here in terms of the quality of researchers, the quality of student, and the quality of facilities. We're doing the COVID-19 vaccine is what we're doing. So this also shows the connections we have with, again, with business, because we're working with one of the biggest biotech firms in Australia, CSL. Also, Australian government obviously giving a lot of funding to this as well. So it shows, again, the importance of our university and what our students can achieve when they come here. Okay, so this is one example. We've done things before, like cervical cancer vaccine as well. So really life-changing things that can be done at our university. I just wanted to really give some real-life examples, because sometimes people just show you rankings, and it's more important that you see how this works into the real world. Also, a lot of support here for the international student community. Just some examples here of how support's been given to international students in Brisbane. As I said, there are a lot in Brisbane, a big part of the community, so there is a lot of support for them. This is some examples of things that have happened throughout. Online classroom, I don't talk about this too much, but currently we're doing this for semester 1. We hope, again, when borders reopen, we don't need to do this so much, but it's a very straightforward system to use. If you're studying online with us, you can keep track of everything, even lecturer profiles, what's coming up in terms of assignments, pay your fees, and view your final grades, request program changes, etc. through our online system. On our website, there's many good videos of how to use this as well. And if you are joining us, we will do pre-departures, pre-commencements, and things like that, where we show you how to use this as well. All right, and there's, again, I won't show you this one, but again, as an example on our website, many videos you can watch about day in the life of online students and things like that to help guide you through this process. I guess our hope is that this is only temporary, and that when the vaccine's finalized, that hopefully borders will reopen. But the key thing is that if you are having to study online, we do have huge range of student support for you. Even we've adjusted very quickly to this, so you're not alone. And even within our student community, I'll show you some examples shortly. So we have our UQ Life, including the UQ Virtual Village. Tons of social activities online, again, peer-to-peer groups and things like that. Includes mentoring as well. So here's some examples of a UQ Virtual Village. Now, if you follow us on on Instagram, you can actually see a lot of the activities that happen on this as well. Campus life is returning now as well, so you can see a lot of the things happening on campus and for example, the festivals we had last week. So those are just some great examples that we have here. So we have sort of blended learning at the moment, and if any interest group you have, whether it's sport, I tend to talk about sport a lot because it's a very sporting state here in Queensland, but you can see their Pokemon fan club and things like that we have. So, just to keep you interested. So it's a really great atmosphere we have here. We have a beautiful campus and we try and run a lot of events there to keep our students engaged and happy. Great student life is one thing I've said. I went to another group of 8 university, the student life there, I won't name which one, but back in my days, a long time ago as well, but the student life at UQ far exceeds that in terms of the vibrancy of the campus and things like that. So you feel like you're getting this really great university experience, which you should. Okay. All right. Other things to learn about the programs and things like that is that we also have great webinars on our website in terms of accommodation options, pathways, student life. I really recommend people look at these. A lot of people will sometimes blindly go by their friends' advice and stuff like that. Really, we've done a lot of work this year through marketing communications in terms of updating the website to make sure there's great insights for you from the student's point of view on various aspects of campus. So really encourage you to watch those so you can see exactly what you'll be doing and how it works and things like that. As well as that, we do tend to run a series of offer holder sessions each semester as well. And what that means, if you have applied them, and there'll be sessions where you can actually interact with faculty, interact with current students and ask them questions and things like that. Sort of every few weeks we've been running these sessions. Even example, sort of next weekend, we're running a session by a free workshop for offer holders by UQ Ventures on entrepreneurship and business startup and pitches and things like that. So we do a lot of things. If you apply for us, you can kind of, keep in touch and see what life is like. We don't want you just to kind of apply and then, forget about it. We want to engage with you and make sure you've got the latest information. Cool. Yeah, so that was a really, really quick run through actually of what the UQ experience is like, but obviously it's a bit different this year because circumstances have dictated that way. But really, in terms of the combination of the lifestyle and the quality of the university, it's very uniquely placed in Australia.